Hello everyone and welcome to Super Dragon Ball Z, a game developed by Crafts and Meister, who haven't made much of anything else.
Don't worry, I won't bother to use my full power.
Wow, you're stronger than I thought.
So I haven't played this game in quite a while, but after booting it up and dicking around in training mode, I found that Frieza is really good at using projectiles. So we're going to be a projectile spamming asshole. Frieza has 4 separate projectile attacks. Pretty much all of his special abilities are projectiles. There is one that isn't, but I'm not going to be using that one very much because I have a hard time finding an opening for it. Now, this game was originally released in arcades, and right now we're playing the arcade mode, which is just 8 consecutive battles ending against Cell. Since we created a character card for Frieza, which is why his name is F instead of Frieza, we get to collect the Dragon Balls. We get 1 Dragon Ball per each battle. Wait, no, there are 7 stages, not 8, because there are only 7 Dragon Balls. I'm sorry, other arcade games must have gotten in there somehow. Either way, this is only the first battle, so Android 18's AI is not the best AI.
Perfect!
A fool like you should be traveling before me.
Fighting Goku can be a bit dangerous as Frieza, because Goku's Kamehameha cuts right through Frieza's Death Saucer. Just right through it, without even stopping. So even though we're still going to use our projectiles because they make up over half our moveset, we want to make sure that we're in charge of the flow of the battle first. There are a few ways to turn the flow of the battle in your favor, but I think the best one is ramming your head into Goku's gut. That seems to work fairly well. If you do have to engage at close quarters combat with Frieza, be careful because Frieza's attacks are rather slow, and close quarters combat is not his strong suit. Thankfully, this is still early in arcade mode, so the AI isn't exactly that smart. And the only real attack of Goku's that we actually have to worry about is his Kamehameha. As long as we keep him at a distance, everything else isn't that bad. I'm sorry, I really wanted you to listen to the sound effects and general atmosphere of this game, including the music, because I really like the music. Anyway, you might notice our Death Saucer actually turns toward the enemy if it misses, and that's incredibly handy. It makes it a lot harder for the enemy to recover as soon as we start going on the offensive.
I'll ask you this just once as a formality. Would you like to work for me?
Round 1.
Oh hey, it's Chi-Chi, and I think this is the only Dragon Ball fighting game in which Chi-Chi is a prominent character. And she's actually pretty tough. She has the Power Staff with her, which can be used to block enemy projectiles, pretty much all of them. The Power Staff attack is also a very powerful melee combo with a deceptively long range, so please watch out for that. She can also turn our projectiles back against us using the banana fan, but she tends to do this way less often. You may have noticed that we can actually move toward the enemy while we use our psychokinesis, and this is very useful for catching them off guard. That was Frieza's death ball, which requires using that meter we have below our health. I didn't use it up until this point because I couldn't find a good time for it, but that was the perfect time for it. Damn, Chi-Chi, hold still for a second.
Round 2, fight!
So in terms of this video, I'm just going to play until I get a game over, and wherever I get a game over is where we're stopping at. Not because we can't retry, but just for fun. I want to see how far I can get. You may see a meter at the very bottom of the screen called Action, and that's what we use to hover in the air or dash around, and Frieza has a much better action meter than any of the other characters. It refills much faster, and he can also stay in the air way longer. Chi-Chi is a very technical character. She can be hard to play as because most of her attacks are about canceling the enemy's moves. But the AI seems to know what to do with her.
This is a joke.
Come on, take
I'll ask you this just once as a formality. Would you like to work for me? Going all out.
Oh hey Gohan, how you doing? So Gohan has the Masenko, which is like Goku's Kamehameha, but even better at breaking through our projectiles. It can also be very hard to get an opening because Gohan often fires a smaller shot before he uses the Masenko, which means if we charge, we get interrupted. He also has a really bad habit of trying to charge at us though, which makes using our projectile attacks a lot easier. All of the stages in this game are very colorful and I like them, but there's not much difference between them as far as gameplay is concerned, except for the varying destructible items. It's also possible to stun enemies by ramming them into a solid object, but we'll get more into that later.
Round 2, fight!
So apparently, the game's coloring, and general presentation are meant to represent the Dragon Ball manga, rather than the anime, which I can see that in the art style. The problem is that Goku's Kamehameha is still blue. But that's a relatively tiny oversight, I guess. The gameplay here in general feels like Street Fighter mixed with Tekken mixed with Mortal Kombat, which is weird, let me tell you. But I think it works very well, especially with the increased focus on projectile attacks, which doesn't really unbalance the game because you still have plenty of opportunities to get around them. I did say the game was developed by Crafts and Meister, but it was co-developed with Akira. who are known for the Street Fighter EX series, so that's probably where a lot of the gameplay inspiration came from.
Final round. Fight!
Some stages have a special change when you get to the third round. This isn't one of them, but for example, Namek starts to erupt if you make it to the third round there. You know, considering this was released in arcades, it isn't that much of a quarter muncher. Maybe they nerfed the AI for the console releases, but the menu says this is the original arcade mode, so I'm gonna trust them on that. I suppose in arcade you also couldn't pause the game to look at your command list. That might have something to do with the difficulty there.
Here goes! It's a joke! Oh, joy, I win! Father would be so proud! Man, I just keep dying!
Round 1. Fight!
Yeah, Krillin, you do die an awful lot. Maybe if you didn't insist on fighting Frieza one-on-one, that wouldn't happen. So Krillin is one of my favorite characters to play as in this game. He has the Kamehameha just like Goku, which can be charged up and is very versatile. He also has the Destructo Disc, of course, which can cut through any enemy projectile, no questions asked. Unfortunately, instead of using any of these moves, the AI seems to want to run around like an idiot and jump in the air like 6 times.
It's a joke!
Round 2. Fight!
Krillin does have his expanding energy blast here as well, but it works a bit differently than it does in other games. Instead of attacking the enemy, it puts the blast on the ground in front of them, and they stay there for a while. This is useful because it stops your enemy from using any projectiles. So it can buy you a lot of valuable time. Unlike Krillin's regular Destructo Disc, his Super Destructo Disc doesn't cut through enemy attacks as easily. It will clash with any oncoming attacks, and it all depends on whether he has more shots than you do. It's probably better if you just block the Super Destructo Disc instead, because, you know, it hurts. It hurts a lot. I like that instead of a real death ball, we summon a tiny novelty death ball to hit our enemies with. You just saw the power of the Destructo Disc right there. It cut through all of our Psychokinesis rocks and several of our Death Beam shots. Oh, I almost forgot. It is possible to knock your enemy off of this stage, and then you will hit the ground and continue fighting there. But they don't take very much damage from that, all things considered.
I should have warned. I don't have much patience for jokes.
Let's go! Round 1. Fight!
Trunks is very good at the whole close-range combat thing. That's what the sword's for, after all. One of his most deadly attacks is only used up close, and his projectile attack is shot out of his sword. But that projectile is rather weak. Still, you can't really argue that he isn't a tenacious fucker. I find that the psychokinesis rocks are particularly useful against him, but only if you have the time to use those, because he bounces around a whole fucking lot. I'm honestly surprised how far I made it, considering how long it's been since I played this thing, and how little practice I had before recording.
Round 2, fight!
So I'm going to show you twice. 1, exactly what stunning enemies is for. 2, that's exactly what every solid object in this game is for, and they're very devastating if you use them properly. This is also definitely the most interesting stage to me in terms of layout, because there's a lot of places to hide and get behind objects, like that pit that the AI seems to be having issues with. Now, something kind of hilarious is that in spite of that really strong start, I'm still going to lose this fight. And that's because the AI is very skilled at using Trunks' maneuverability.
Final round, fight!
Man, things aren't looking so hot, but I'm sure we can still turn this around with liberal use of floating rocks. That's the spirit. We do only have one more battle left to go, so it shouldn't be too surprising that Trunks is this difficult. I'm just thankful we didn't fight Vegeta, because Vegeta is a projectile spamming motherfucker. He makes our strategy look tame. Just trust me on that. Something I forgot to mention until now is that in spite of this game ending at the Cell Saga, Majin Buu is an unlockable character only in the PS2 version. So is Mecha Frieza actually, and I recall that being pretty heavily advertised in regards to this game, that it was the first time you could play as Mecha Frieza. But you see Mecha Frieza for all of 6 seconds.
I should have warned you. I don't have much patience for jokes.
Such a waste of time. Round 1, fight!
So Cell's moveset is actually a lot like Frieza's, except better. He has our Psychokinesis rocks, but better. He has our Death Beam, but faster, and he can strafe while using it. He's a fucking Swiss Army knife murder machine. And I've never beaten him without using a continue at least once. On the bright side, I do appreciate that recreation of the manga scene before the battle. That's kinda cute.
Playtime is over. Round 2, fight!
So I do hope everyone enjoyed this super quick look at Super Dragon Ball Z. I think it's a pretty damn fun game, and there's something addicting about it.
Playtime is over.
Maybe I'll play it more sometime when I'm not, recording a much longer Dragon Ball Z game. Who knows? I'll see you next time.
This is a joke! How? You're so weak!
Game over.